Hello, Jeff Buchanan with RoadRUNNER magazine.
And Tom Roderick.
We're in Venice, California today, riding the new Janus Motorcycles, the Halcyon 250 and the Halcyon 450.
If you're unfamiliar with these motorcycles, they are a pseudo custom production motorcycle out of Indiana. Basically, you go to their website and they can create either of these two machines to your liking with different color options, pinstriping, add-on additions, almost anything you like, for a price.
Looking for more exciting motorcycle travel, editorial, reviews, news, and resources for planning your next motorcycle tour? RoadRUNNER.
The bikes are, they're interesting. They definitely have an old bike feel to them. Kind of like, it's almost, dare I say, a budget kind of vintage motorcycle collector would like these?
Budget to some degree, because we're talking at least a $9,000 base price on the 250 and about a $15,000 price on the 450. So not for the faint of heart when it comes to affordability.
The Janus motorcycles are definitely a niche market, without question. People that are going to be looking at these definitely know what they're getting into. These are definitely a little rough around the edges, but that's kind of what the appeal is for them, actually. They are incredibly simplistic. In fact, when we were riding today, I was kind of taken back to being a kid the first time I rode with a clutch and shifted gears. And I was kind of reliving that thing about just a throttle, clutch, brakes, the simplicity of all that.
Yeah, it reminds me of, other, say, lesser expensive motorcycles I've ridden in the past. But I think the feel is more appropriate with these because they are vintage style, they are just vintage all around, and you get that feeling when you're riding a motorcycle. I mean, again, it's a air-cooled, so there's no water jacket on it, so you're going to hear mechanical sounds and little pops and things going on, and it's going to vibrate. I mean, 250 or 50, there's some vibration coming through this motorcycle.
Well, definitely on the 250, and you feel the road coming up through it, but again, that's kind of the appeal in a way. It does make you aware of what you're riding over to make sure you're not hitting any bumps, that's for sure. But I was surprised at how, I thought it was going to be a lot stiffer being a rigid bike, but actually that seat absorbs, it gives you a little bit of cushion.
There was definitely a difference though, like when we hit some rough patches, Jeff, you were riding this bike, and for sure, the springs can only do so much. That's where the rear suspension on the 450 definitely comes into play. This is a more substantial motorcycle. It's still not that heavy of a bike, a little bit more than a 250, but you could ride this thing, further in greater comfort, obviously, than you could the 250.
Oh, absolutely. One thing that was kind of funny, having to go back to a choke, that took me back to the old days. Having to actually choke it when it was cold and play with that choke. I know it was kind of bothersome when we were first starting out, but it kind of took me back again to that old school thing of learning how to ride with a choke. And when's the last time you rode a bike with a choke?
Well, mine recently. I have an old bike, but...
Oh, okay, that doesn't count. The leading link on this is kind of interesting. No dive whatsoever when you go to the front brake.
Right.
Which takes me back to my old motocross days of riding a DKW that had a leading link like this.
Well, now you're dating yourself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely. I was really interested when I found out that these are the new Koni shocks, but it's called, they inverted the letters, so it's Icon suspension units now. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, and speaking about brakes, I mean, I was surprised on the 450, you actually have a 2-piston Brembo caliper up front on this one, where this is a no-name over here, and can definitely feel the difference.
Yeah.
There's some, nice stopping power on the 450 compared to the 250. You're not going near as fast on the 250 most of the time, so it's appropriate, but you are getting a little bit more what you paid for in braking performance.
I guess at the very core of all this is just basically a basic motorcycle. I mean, even the instrumentation, it's just a speedometer and on this one a tack. There are no frills whatsoever, but that's kind of fun. It's just a clutch, throttle, 5 speeds, and off you go.
Yeah, this is a bike for, bopping around town. If you're looking for attention, you're definitely going to get it. I mean, from the cute girl walking down the street to the homeless guy standing on the corner, there was nonstop thumbs up and nice looking bikes.
That was amazing. How many people, every time we stopped, even when in traffic, the guys in the cars, everyone was giving us thumbs up, and people when we were stopped were coming by saying, hey, beautiful bike. So they are definitely eye-catching bikes. So absolutely.
And I mean, the build quality, I think, again, price is still up there, but it's nicely put together. They did a really great job on the construction of this tank, the fenders, you know, the headlight nacelle is painted to match. I like that. And also, there's hardly a plastic piece on here. Your mirrors, the bodies for your turn signals, and I think that's about it.
Also, the hand-painted pinstriping on the fenders and tank, that was great. And then also the story about they have an Amish guy who's doing the leather side bags by hand, the stitching and everything. That's a cool story. I didn't realize what percentage of the parts are made by the Amish, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know the Amish were so into motorcycles. Old school wise, carbureted motorcycle, which that's a rarity in and of itself.
Yeah.
For you home garage people, you're going to like both of them, especially this guy. You know, you can get in there, you can, you know, do all your valve adjustments, you know, play with the carburetor. There's not much to it. It's a very simple motorcycle. Yeah. Even saying that though, 4-year warranty on the 250, which is pretty impressive. So if you like this style of motorcycle, yeah, there's not too many places you can go to get something like this. There is a Scrambler model on their website. You can always check that out if you're, you know, enjoying these but looking for something a little bit different. They do have that available. And for the most part, if you are wanting something that's just, again, different, you can't go down to your local dealership and get it, and you're willing to spend the money, either of these would, you know, fit the bill pretty nicely. So if you're interested in these two motorcycles or possibly their Scrambler model, you can go to their website, janusmotorcycles.com, and look at it there. If you enjoyed this review with Jeff and I, make sure to subscribe for more motorcycle content.